I'm Caz Parker for MMH, the home of rock radio. And today I'm joined by the fabulous Joey Wit. And we first met when you was here on tour. In fact, it wasn't even that long ago. It was in June, supporting
It
Joel
was.
Hoekstra and Brandon Gibbs, who I also interviewed ahead of that. So we met then, got to know each other a bit. And for some stupid reason, you wanted me to do an interview because you're coming back to the UK to do your own tour.
I just missed you so much, Cass.
I
I
thought that
did.
might
I
be
mean,
it.
I've
So
thought
you
about
wanted
it every day since June, and we just had such a wonderful time. I mean, what was it in Cannock the first night? We hung out in Cannock,
It was Canuck, yeah.
and then in London again, right?
Yeah.
At the Winger show, and that was fabulous. So, yeah, I'm really excited to be coming back. This tour that's upcoming in September is kind of based around my record release, and Freddie, our tour manager at Unity Tours, literally we were on a bus. I think we might have been driving to the London show, and he goes, "Hey Joey, do you want to come back with your full band in September?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely, I do, because I love the UK, I love the people, and I cannot wait to get back and play rock and roll music."
Ah, well, we're really pleased to have you back. And it is called the Rose Gold Record Release Tour, isn't it?
It is, it is.
Yeah. And 9 dates across the UK and Ireland. So what we'll do is we'll go through the dates at the end because then people can go straight on and buy the little tickets. We can,
Excellent, excellent.
because, that's part of it. So, okay, first question then. Let's do your own little selling job then as to why people
Okay.
should, how you feel about the shows and what people
hmm
can expect and why they should book a ticket.
I think one thing about our show that's a lot of fun live is we if you listen to the recordings,
Hmm.
they came out fantastic. But we got some new blood in the live lineup.
Hmm.
So things could go a little bit unpredictable. And I've always been a fan of live shows that maybe are just a little bit different than the recordings. So we get a little bit progressive, I think, a little greasy with the live show. The recordings are all polished, easily palatable. I think that that's a great thing to have. But when we get live, we tend to rock out and turn it up a little bit more, throw a little more grit on the guitars, and I mean, my cousin Nate is on the drums on this tour, and he is a sight to withhold. So if drums are your thing, this boy can play.
Well,
I'm
there you
really excited about it. So we've got a good group of guys coming over across the Atlantic, and my buddy Wes is actually in England. He's from down south, but he lives in Liverpool now, and so he'll be sitting in on some keys, guitar, backing vocals. It'll be a lot of fun. We've got some incredible direct support joining us that are local to the UK. Katie in the bad sign, Katie O'Malley from Manchester, and Matt Fairley from Newcastle will be joining us on different dates around the tour. And then some local support at each individual city, some local groups that are just fantastic. That'll be on those respective dates. But Katie and Matt are touring with us. Can't be more excited about it.
are. Well, I'm excited about it too. So tell us a little bit more then about the Rose Gold record release.
So Rose Gold, I feel like we recorded it in just around the end of 2021. We started recording, and Matt Starr from he was in Ace Frehley's band. He was in Mr. Big. He's been in Black Swan. He played the drums. So he and I got together. We rehearsed for a day. The next 2 days, we just laid down live, no click track, just pure rock and roll, big drums. I'm sure some of your viewers and listeners know Matt and some of the projects he's been in. Um, Unbelievable. He just put down a highway of drums on this record,
Yeah.
and it kind of moved the songs. It took them. I write everything on an acoustic guitar, so it took these songs from just kind of like that singer songwritery thing into some like, you know, we were like up for it. My heart started beating faster. I was really excited about it because his expertise with recording and on the drum kit really enhanced things to a level that I think really truly defines the record a little bit. Is that up tempo, upbeat? It really is a level up from previous recordings thanks to his foundational layer of the drums. So that was a lot of fun working with a professional like him. And then there's a song called "Leave It to Me" that Ricky Byrd, Hall of Famer, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, her lead guitarist during that sort of golden area, the I Love Rock and Roll era for Joan Jett. Ricky Byrd played on that "Leave It to Me" song. He came into the studio, and it was like, man, oh man, that's like working with a real life hero. You know, that was amazing. So we kind of got a star-studded lineup on that record. We recorded it all analog, all old school, direct to tape, no computers, nothing like that. It's really a proper old school rock and roll kind of. There's some psychedelic influences. There's some heavier influences. There's some, there's a couple ballads on there too. But even those ballads take a little twist and turn that might be a little bit more progressive. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, I'm really excited about this record coming out, and the singles have done well so far. So I'm pretty excited to see what the rest of the record does, Casman.
Amazing. So this sounds, it is going to be completely different to what I've already seen, which was the acoustic show. It was just you and a
Mm.
guitar. So this is
No, that's
like
right.
a whole different world to see. This is exciting. I'm
It
excited.
is. It is. It keeps it fresh for me, I think, and having your team with you is always a lot of
Yeah.
fun. And my cousin Nate's never been outside the U.S., so
Yeah.
it's his first time in the UK. It'll be his first time literally crossing any ocean. So
Oh, wow.
that's going to be really fun to show him places that I love and have him meet people that I love and that are my friends, family members, all these people that I absolutely adore in the UK. To have him step into that world is going to be amazing. And then two of my buddies from Florida, who I've met over the last couple of years, are stepping in and stepping up big time for me on this tour. Like I said, it came together so fast that we've got some new faces playing in the live band, and I don't. They've never done this many dates in a row, as far as I know, in a foreign country. So it's really, really exciting, and you'll just be people smiling and laughing, having the time of our lives. I'm a little bit seasoned in the UK. I think this will be my fourth or fifth UK run, and
Yeah.
I mean, we started, and it was me. I rented out a Nissan Qashqai and threw my acoustic guitar in the back, jumped on what is it, the opposite side of the road,
Yeah.
opposite side of the car, and I'm driving around trying to find these venues around the northwest of the UK. Back in like 2022, things had just opened up, and I'm going, what the hell am I doing? I'm just doing this proper grassroots indie rock and roll, going out trying to meet people, generate a buzz. Next year, it snowballed into a full band effort. And then that's how I kind of met Freddie and the Unity Tours people and Joel and Brandon.
Yeah.
And that's been an incredible blessing because now Freddie and I are working together. So we've gone from a Nissan Qashqai to like some Ford truck with a tonneau cover with our
That's
gear in it, and
what are
now
you
and now
made
we're
of
on now
money?
we're on like a little RV. Now we're on like a kind of a small bus. So it's been a proper like I guess coming of age rock and roll story for me, and very blessed, fortunate, and it kind of blows my mind sometimes, but it's a lot of hard work. It's not without a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, and a lot of investments made by a lot of people. So I'm very
Yeah.
fortunate, very lucky, and I get to do it. And I love the UK so much. I'm just so infatuated with the different dialects, the different regions, everything about it. So, and then obviously the music. I've always leaned a little bit more across the Atlantic rather than maybe digging into some of the music here in the States. But I owe that to my parents' record collection and the fact my family's all from Europe within the last 100 years over in the States. So between Ireland, Liverpool, and Poland, um, I've kind of always had more of an interest in that kind of world. So
Yeah.
grew up in a very cultural place up in New England, in Connecticut. So most of us have European roots.
Oh, well, actually,
Hmm.
that does lead me on to a question that I did have. Um,
Yeah,
because so you first came over in 2022 and it's only 2024 now, and you said you've been over 4 or 5 times. Like that's a lot. You've squished it in. You love it, I can tell. So,
absolutely.
but what's your like rather than people, places, and stuff like that, is there something that's like a favorite go-to when you come back? And I suppose I'm thinking like food or drink or something, because there's some things we do a little bit better over
You're
here, but
gonna, you're gonna laugh. Oh, there's some things you do a lot of it better, and you're gonna laugh at me, but there's like takeaway kebabs. I mean, just that to me, pub culture. We don't have pub culture on the
no,
same level.
no,
There's some old school taverns like shoreline taverns where I grew up that the sailors would drink at and that sort of thing. But remember, our country's so much younger
yeah,
that we don't have that sort of, I mean, ingrained history.
yeah,
It's still all we're still making history here. Unfortunately, we're making too much history over here at the moment. But uh, when you sit down, like Liverpool is one of my favorite cities in the world. We've got ties back to Liverpool, our crew. So I mean, there's moments where I'll just go sit by the Mersey River and stare up at the Liver Building and look at those two birds, and just everything else in the world disappears. All my problems, all my stress. I just sit, listen to the river, watch the people walk around. and I look at those birds and everything's okay. And it's like the most special place in the world for me. With that being said, I've gotten to expand now, touring the main island there, and I mean, you go to Newcastle. What a brilliant city. Down in London, I haven't spent too much time in London, so I'm really excited about the show at the Dev, and I heard it's an
Yeah,
amazing place. So I'm excited about that. I've not been to Birmingham yet. We're hitting Birmingham on this run. I mean,
that's
Edinburgh,
near me.
Scotland. It doesn't. What's that?
That's near me, Birmingham. It's only down the road.
What? You and Natalie better be at that show, or I'm gonna be very upset.
Well, we're going to try. I've got to check the dates though. If we can't make the four, we've discussed actually going to a show. If we can't make the 14th for any reason, we'll just do another one. Because the thing is, we have cars. This country's so tiny. You just drive anywhere you want to drive. It's like you
See, I
can go from
love that.
one end to the other.
It cracks me up sometimes because it's like in the States, that is what we do. We drive everywhere. Like next week, I got to drive 19 hours from Florida back to New England. And I'm like, that's the length of like Liverpool to Portugal. It's so far.
No, it's
And
ridiculous.
it's just nothing for us in the States, but like it's just a couple hours to get around from place to place. So it is pretty convenient. But I don't think as many people drive in the UK as they do here. Everybody's got a car here.
They do. Because
Do
public
they?
transport's shite over here. So, like, if you live in London, that no, you don't need a car in London. Like, you've
Hmm.
got really good tube system and everything, and buses as
Hmm.
well. And it's too yeah, there's too yeah. I mean, you can still drive through London and everything. I've done that a couple of times.
Driving in London was the most stressed I've ever been in my life.
Yeah, it's not ideal really, and not, you don't want to be driving in central London. It's not ideal. So
The
most people
speed
just
limit, the
trains,
speed
tubes.
limit and the ticketing is like
Yeah.
I was so now I'm like two hands on over here. I'm just like, you know,
Yeah,
listening
no,
to the radio tune.
but
Over there, it's like,
generally,
okay,
for those of us that live anywhere else other than London, most people have
yeah.
got cars. We do because the yeah.
So I
Anyway,
feel like the train and the bus systems are so much more convenient over there than they are here. Like
I
it's
think
just traveling here is tough. Over
maybe
there, it's just
maybe we're just ungrateful then because I don't think it is. I think it's a total pain.
no.
But so for me to get to a train
Hmm.
station from where I live, this is
Yeah,
digressing. I've got to drive to it because I don't live right by one.
fair
Like,
enough.
you know
Yeah,
what I mean? I'd have
yeah.
to. So for me, I'm like, if I'm getting the train, I've still got to drive, so it doesn't help me. So yeah, a bus goes past, so I could get into Birmingham on a bus.
There you go.
Yeah, which I've have been known to do. It's called a bus wanker over here as well. Do you remember when I said this video is not made for kids because I'm bound to
I
swear?
love it. That's so good.
uh, I don't know where we are now with the track of the interview. We're
We were
always
talking about
gone on a
traveling around and
tangent.
what I'm
Yeah,
looking.
you didn't say.
See,
I thought you might say. So you said pubs basically. You love pubs and
I
stuff like
love, but food though, food too, takeaway food. Like there's a
takeaway
kebab
food,
shop in
kebabs. I love
Liverpool.
that. I'm
Oh
not
my
sure
God,
kebabs
it's
are
called
classed as British food. I think they're Turkish, aren't
no, but we don't have like if you want
they?
to get something close to
Fish
that,
and
it
chips.
yeah, but we don't have it on the same way like pizza shops and that sort of thing, and obviously like fast food and that here, but like just walking out of a pub and going to like nail a takeaway real quick. Oh my God, that
You
is the
literally have
greatest
just
thing ever.
you turned into a Brit basically, haven't you? That's what we do.
I
Roll out the
yeah,
pub, head to somewhere, get some scran. That's just yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And also,
that's the way to do it.
if you've not really got into British chocolate, you need to because American chocolate sucks. It's terrible.
No,
Hershey.
it is better, 100% better.
I've
Yeah,
looked it up and there's some same ingredients as in sick in American chocolate. That's why it smells of sick.
yeah, it's not good.
True story. Um,
Yeah.
right, so let's go back on track if that's at all possible. Because we are tangenty people. Um, okay. Is there anything so we know about the Rose Gold record release tour. We
Hmm.
know that you're coming over here to play the music from that album. We know all of that stuff. Is there anything that's coming up that maybe you can share with us that maybe it could be a little exclusive or a secret? I mean, there doesn't have to be, but I always like to try and prize it out of people if I can. Anything new you can tell me that's coming that people could be excited about?
There's a couple of dates in the works that are neither British dates nor American dates that we're working on, and
Mm.
in places where you might have to take a couple of different planes. So that's
Wow.
some pretty distant gigs are coming up, but we're still working on
Okay.
sussing all that out. But there's some things happening in other parts of the world right now that are very exciting. Um, leave it at that. But
No, intriguing. And also, we don't want to curse it
mhm,
because that's what happens, isn't it? If
yeah,
you blurt it out too soon when it's not
yeah.
quite sorted, then you blame
Hmm.
yourself. So we won't do that. That's cool. Well, like I said to you before, what I try and do with my interviews, just to make them a little bit different and stuff, and just I like to try and get a bit more of your personality out and a few
Sure,
things about you without going down the standard sort of question routes, because I think it's nice for people to get to know you. So we have what
of
we call
course.
the random question section. So in the random question section, starts off fairly tame, then gets a little bit weirder. So
Come
just
on with it.
prepare your mind for that. So yeah, starting off with some. Again, this is just really getting to know you. But what would you say would be the best gig you've ever played?
Best gig I ever played. Oh, from a sentimental reason, the first one we ever played as a rock and roll band was just amazing. It was at this little club in New Haven, Connecticut, and that was just brilliant. You had like all the friends, family there. We opened up for this fella called Will Daly from Boston, who's done it all, and it was just a great gig. But opening up for Corey Glover from Living Color was pretty cool. That was amazing, and it was an outdoor show, and there was, I mean, it seemed like there was a thousand people there, thousands of people there. It was amazing. Um, there's been some pretty special ones. First time we first time we played in Liverpool was really special to me. Like I said, I got a lot of history in that city, and that was pretty cool. I mean, there's so many different ones, but I would probably say the first one was amazing. And then actually playing in Dublin on the last run with Joel and Brandon was super special because Brandon jumped up and played a solo with me, and everybody in Dublin was just so respectful, but had an absolute blast of a time, and the energy was there. So that was a lot of fun too.
I mean, I did think you were going to say Canuck, but
Canuck was good. I mean, we've had a lot of good nights in New York and Boston too that are just like they all kind of run into one long
yeah.
show. So there's been some special ones, but yeah,
Uh,
that's definitely those are the big ones that come to mind.
that's cool.
Mhm.
What about then? Next quick fire question at you. Have you
Yeah.
ever had an embarrassing moment on stage?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. It was kind of a collective embarrassment, and it was it was really weird. He we were at like a family party during the day. We had a show that night, and it was like everything that could go wrong on stage. My pedal board stopped working. I'm pretty sure the guitar player had a little too much to drink. The bass player just kind of was making up songs as he went along, and drummers just sat up there just trying to keep time, and the sound person was having a mare as well. It was just, I mean, looking back, it was an absolute riot. But I mean, this has got to be 6, 7 years ago now, and it was just it's a total laugh. But yeah, that was pretty like I ended up taking my guitar off and just went like this, and just said to hell with it.
Yeah. So
That was
just
rough.
basically a bit of a shit show, but funny.
Oh God Almighty! It is. You have to have those moments though.
Yeah.
Gear malfunctions, whatever. But now I turn them into humorous things on stage. Like if I mess up a song, forget a word, there's no shame in starting over and just going at it again.
Of course not. People like that as well. It's a bit more,
Mm.
what's the word? A bit more humble. Like there's no point kind of getting cross about it. You might as well just go,
No,
oh, you know what? Let's just start
it's
again.
a
Fine.
blast. Yeah.
Yeah. All of that. Oh, cool. Okay, then. So if you had, again, this is a little bit random, but if you had a time machine, would you go back into the past and relive something cool? Or would you have a
Mm.
little sneak into the future to see what was going to happen and maybe put some money on the winning horse or
I
something?
think seriously, I love unpredictable things. So I don't know if I would go into the future. And oh, good Lord, I'm not so sure that anybody wants to do that because Lord knows what's coming, right? And
Yeah.
I'm very much I like being surprised. I don't like knowing what's happening. I like just kind of going with the flow and experiencing life. So I think I would like to have some modern conveniences, but also take away from the technology prior to social medias and phones a little bit. I think honestly, I would have liked to have seen that Beatlemania period in the '60s and kind
Yeah.
of grown up during that peace, love, rock and roll. That era would have been fun. Um, I don't know about being born during the Second World War. That might have been a little bit rough, but
Yeah.
growing up through that period of the 60s and 70s, when I listened to my parents talk about it, it just sounded like, summer was endless, music sounded better, people were friendlier. I just love that. I think that's
Yeah.
beautiful. So I'd probably go back.
I think that's a cool idea. And you wouldn't have to be born in the Second World War because it's a time machine. So you'd just be you.
True. Okay. Yeah. If I could go back, yeah, absolutely. I'm in. So yeah.
There you go. Perfect. I like it. I like that idea. I'll come with. That'll be fun. Sounds good.
Let's
No
do it.
social media, no technology. Imagine that. Oh, it'd be so nice. It'd be so refreshing, wouldn't it? Although,
Guys, you're one of the few people I've met, like, I feel like I've met recently that it wasn't like a music connection that happened from an email, or something like that. A lot of you often in this industry, you're emailing people or chatting with them online, and then you meet them later on at a show. But like you and I met organically through a mutual friend, which was, I mean, that's pretty cool.
but that mutual friendship
Yeah.
started with an online
Yeah.
connection.
Of course it did.
It's still freaking there,
Yeah.
wasn't it? So, anyway, oh, here's another question. I like this one.
Let's go.
Because obviously you're one of those people, you're very amenable. You'll always have a chat with everybody after the gig. If someone wants something signed or their photo with you, you're there, you
Of
do
course,
all
yeah.
that. Have you ever met any of your musical heroes and had a starstruck fanboy moment?
I've met my musical heroes, yes. And this was a while ago now, and I was just kind of getting into the music thing professionally,
Yeah.
and I was starting to get invited to some cool, parties and that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say bands or names or anything, but one of my favorite bands, the bass player happened to walk in the room, and I was like, "Oh, that's from this band," and I go, "Oh my god, that's
That's
this,
who it
that's
is.
him."
This is your starstruck moment. You need to
Yeah.
tell us. You can't be mystery band and mystery bass player. Come on. Only me.
So I got to keep that one. I'll tell you off camera because I don't want to be too much of a fanboy here,
No,
but that
it's
was really cool. But we ended up chatting the whole night, and I never like lost my cool or anything like that. We ended up becoming
oh,
very good friends. So that was pretty cool. Now we'll see each other, and it sort of comes from like a shock thing to almost a mutual, we're all kind of in the same industry feeling, which is really, really interesting how that happens.
Joey,
Meeting people.
you
Yeah.
can't have this story and not tell us who it is.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Just because he's a mate now, he might not watch.
They probably won't watch, but we'll keep that one on the DL. Other than that, Joel, it was Joel Hoekstra. No, I'm
All
just
right, there we
kidding.
go. He
I'm
probably
just
will
kidding.
watch.
Although I do love Joel. Joel and Brandon are like my big brothers, and
Yeah.
I mean those guys just treated me like gold on that tour. So that was really, really cool. But yeah, it was. I've met a few people that I guess you could say are very much in the upper echelon of musicians, and everybody's been wonderful. I've never had one where don't meet your hero moment. Everybody
No.
that I've met or spoken to in this industry has been completely wonderful to me.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah.
that's the thing. I think most of us, there's no point doing like clang, clang, clang. Most of us know people that we may have grown up listening to and all of that.
Hmm.
These opportunities are more accessible perhaps than they once were. I think, when everything seemed to the rock scene seemed to disappear, and then when it came back, some of the bigger
Hmm.
bands were starting to play smaller venues again, and things like rock cruises as well. People have become a little bit more
Yeah.
accessible. But I just love it. I love it if you still. I love to still feel a fangirl moments, like, and still be a bit like,
Hmm.
oh my God, I'm too nervous to go over and say hello or something, I kind of
Yeah.
like that. I think it's nice to, even when you work in the industry and you meet a lot of people and you can be professional and all of that, I still think there's always somebody that makes you go. I
Oh yeah. It certainly
had
is. I mean,
one,
there's
and I
there's
mean, I was going to say I met Tom Baker, my favorite Doctor Who, at a
yeah.
like Comic Con. I couldn't speak to him. He was my favorite Doctor Who. I loved him. So I had the most. I was a bit like, hi.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know.
That's oh, that's adorable. Yeah, that it is special though that the when you can when and especially when they're just good people. I think that's
Yes,
even cooler.
it's
You know,
nice.
I've
I
not met
think
anybody who was a jerk, so
no.
that's pretty cool.
And
Yeah,
most people know as well, this is the downside of things like social media. If anybody's horrible, they get outed publicly now. It's like, oh, I met this
I
person.
know.
Me.
I know.
So I think you have to kind of yeah, I think there's a bit of a self-awareness thing, and people are more grateful of the fans as well. There's the industry's quite saturated, so people need their loyal fan base. If you've got to sell
That's
merch, or
true.
you've got to sell the records, and you want streams because people aren't buying physical copies as much, and you want to. There's so many reasons why
Yeah,
it pays to just be nice and be friendly
be
and yeah,
yourself for sure.
exactly.
For
So,
sure.
another question then. Oh, this one
Yes.
involves a bit of thinking. I'm going to chuck it at you anyway, but you might have the answer. In the film of your life, who would you want to play you?
Oh, that's a really good question. Film of my life, who would I want to play me? Hmm.
You can
I
get,
think of the actors I've seen lately, getting creative. Um,
my default is always if you can't think of anyone, go for Brad Pitt. He can play
yeah,
anyone.
he's pretty good too. There's, oh golly, who would it be?
I know this is
Brad
why
Pitt's
it
pretty
requires
good.
thought.
That's a
It's
tough one.
naughty, isn't it? I shouldn't just chuck that one in.
Yeah. Oh man, that's one that you'd have to think about. I
Yeah.
don't. I'm trying to think. It's funny because I feel like most people would go, "Who's the best looking?" But I'm like, "Who's
Yeah.
the most talented?"
Yeah. Or who's
I
the
want the most
funniest?
talented guy.
You could pick
Yeah.
someone that's just really funny, like Jack Black or like
Hmm.
Mike Myers, and go like, because I just watched
Yeah.
Wayne's
Go
World
after it.
again for about the millionth time, and I was
Yeah.
like, it's still a brilliant film. Maybe just pick Mike Myers, get him to do it. Although he's
That's
not
pretty
looking so
funny.
good these days, is he?
I haven't seen him, but
Get
you
very
know, I mean, there's a few guys though that are pretty good these days. The kid who played Elvis was amazing because he could sing and he like dove into the character. Like I loved that. I thought that
there we
was
go.
Austin Butler. I think that might be a good shout. Um, I mean,
I didn't
and
think,
then obviously you're thinking like musician Bradley Cooper. Somebody's got to be athletic too because I used to be a pro baseball player over here, so they got to be able to throw the baseball around too.
well, there
I don't
you
know. That's a
go.
tough
You
one.
see, that bit of information would not have come out if it wasn't for that question. Somebody versatile. I like it.
My favorite actor ever was Robin Williams, though. That's I loved him.
Get
So
it. Oh yeah, okay. We can't get him to do
mm.
it now, but
there's
but
only yeah, there's only so many guys who I feel like could do what Robin did from a comedy, from a drama perspective. I mean, he was brilliant. He was my
but
favorite.
let's call this a fantasy question. Like anybody
Mm.
alive or dead, we'll go with Robin Williams because I mean the chances
Yeah,
are, I mean it may or may not happen, and you'll have to find an alternative if we get to that stage in your life where someone's making a film about you. You can't have Robin
yeah,
Williams. But for now, we'll just say if wishes could come true, that's who it would.
yeah. young Marlon Brando or John Voight might do the trick aesthetically.
Oh
Like
my God, you've now got so many options. It's ridiculous. I'm moving on
we
to
could
another.
do it like that Dylan movie where they had a different guy play Bob Dylan throughout his career.
There you go. See, somebody's got to start writing the script. Could happen.
That's it.
Um, right, a few more questions. Oh, I'm on to the would you rather section now. I know you're
Come
looking
on.
forward to this. And it's like I said to you, because didn't we have this conversation backstage at the Winger gig? Didn't I chuck a few
Yeah,
at you?
but these would you rather's were not they, they those would you rather's were interesting. So what do we got here?
They're still in the same question list. I don't think they're
Okay.
weird. Do you want me to avoid do you want me to avoid the ones that sound a bit
I want
dodgy?
the craziest ones you got. Let's go.
Okay. Would you rather people who watch my interviews, I'll be sick of hearing the same ones, but I've got a few new ones in the mix. But would you rather cry every time you have sex or burp every time someone kisses you?
Oh God. Um,
Don't overthink it.
cry,
There isn't a
cry,
right answer. They're all wrong.
cry. I think cry.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's cute. And actually, yeah, that's probably the way to go, isn't it? But maybe there's no easy answer to that one. They're both a bit grim. Um, would you rather? Oh, I'm going to change it up. Listen to an annoying laugh for a whole day or get tickled for an hour.
Oh, probably. I would probably have to say, listen to the annoying laugh.
I couldn't.
Yeah, because
I
I'd start laughing myself after a while and just be like, "You're awful." So, but
oh no.
yeah, tickles, torture, man. Oh,
I know, I don't know. I think I'd quite like to be tickled for an hour. But then again, these aren't my answers and these are my questions. I haven't got to answer them. I don't know why I'm chipping in. Um, would you rather have a rhinoceros head for a big toe or, and this is a full-sized one,
hmm,
or a giraffe neck on your body with your head on top?
giraffe neck.
Oh, straight in there with the answer.
Yeah,
I
giraffe neck for sure.
I've got to be honest, I think that's the first time I've asked that question because what I've done is I've mixed them up. I stole one
Hmm.
from when I interviewed Keith St. John and he threw them back at me. After I said it was over, he said, I've got some would you rather's back at you. And then I carried on filming and it was really funny. It was better than my interview. Um, okay, then, would you rather, couple more before we sign off, have your head on
Sure.
backwards or your arms and legs the opposite way round?
Oh my head. Oh. Well, I suppose if your head's on backwards, you could still like your balance is probably still there. So I think I'd probably go head on backwards. I feel like I'm walking around some days with my head on backwards anyway, yeah. So I think
Yeah.
that's kind of routine.
I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't really got a comment to make because they're both weird. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I don't even know why it's in there, but I like it. It's funny. It's just
That's a
silly.
good one.
Just a bit of silliness, isn't it? And then my favorite one, which I have used a lot of times, but it's still my favorite. And you said throw the weirdest ones at you that I could. Would you rather
Hmm.
have a 12-inch belly button that sways to the music or accordions for legs
Um, does it make the noise? The accordion make music
all
when
the
you're
time, every
oh,
time you walk?
I would probably say the belly button.
I think
That's
I would
silly.
as well. Not again, not that it
That's
matters.
silly,
You'd be
Caz.
amazed how many people choose accordions because they think,
Oh no, I don't know if I like that.
but I was like, nah, that would drive me
And then
nuts.
you're
So,
just kind of bobbing, you're kind of bobbing around on the accordion. Like, not for me.
well, now I'm going to ask you one more question that's more sensible. So, if
Okay.
anything was possible, what would be your dream achievement as a musician? So you can go big, bold, brash. Just what would your dream be if someone waved a wand,
Um,
grant it for you?
oh, I think personally, I would love to be at a place where music for me. I mean, it is a full-time job for me. So, but uh, not necessarily asking for the world. I mean, to be on that Oasis level and selling out stadiums and arenas or that Radiohead level, that's amazing. But I think to have the working class fan base where they're coming to sell out theaters every night and you're putting together those shows across the year to where you're playing in front of 2,500, 3,000 people a night in some of these classic theaters. That would be amazing. Like bands like Doves and Wilco and that sort of fan base to where we're all in it together, that they feel like they're just as much of a part of it as the band and the people on stage, that we're experiencing and doing something bigger than ourselves. That would be amazing.
Oh,
I'd also love to see rock music and some of these talented singer songwriters and bands kind of get back into that mainstream art, because I feel like it's kind of, we're not art, the bands I love and guitar music itself, I feel like it's just somewhere, it's kind of in a weird place identity wise right now. And I'd love to see it back into um into the charts and the mainstream, real instruments being played. A lot of the stuff right now is just such um it's just synthetic.
over.
It doesn't feel real,
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real. So I'd love to see music back in there. But for me personally, I'd love just to be in that. And I think what we're on the way there is just doing this grassroots, building a fan base, building people who can come out and just experience something with us and be a part of the adventure. That's
Yeah.
that's where I'm at with that. You know?
That sounds amazing. And it's a very
Yeah.
humble dream as well. Thank you so much for catching up with me. I think I probably should let you go back to your musician life now and planning for this tour and all of that stuff because there's loads of work to be done. But thank you so
There
much
is.
for catching up with me. It's been loads of fun, and I'm glad I got to throw a stupid bunch of would you rather's at you.
Guys, I had a blast. It's always wonderful to speak with you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I have been Caz Parker for MMH, the home of rock radio, and I've been joined by Joey Wit, as you know. We've been talking for ages, but what I did promise that I would do before we signed off was just mention all of the shows because people, if you know, let's hope they do listen to the end, for goodness sake, that's the whole point. But they can check the socials, they can see it for themselves. But I do think it's nice to
Certainly.
give them a little roundup because then they can go, oh, that's a show I can get to. So shows are coming up. I've got a list, I've written it out. It
Mhm.
starts in September with Santiago's in Leeds on the 10th of September. And then I'm going to do a Wayne's World. And then
And then,
Newcastle, the Cluny on the 11th. And then Bannerman's Edinburgh on the 12th. And the 13th is Liverpool, your favourite place, at Round the
mhm,
Corner, which I've not heard of actually. And then 14th of Birmingham at Scruffy Murphy's, which I have heard of, a place I have frequented. Um, 15th is the Dev in London, which you mentioned, and then you get a day
mhm.
off. I've
Me
noticed.
too. A day
One
off,
day
one
off.
flight, a day off, one flight, and probably several pints of Guinness once we land in Dublin.
You land in Dublin on the 17th at the Fibber
Yep.
McGee's, which could not sound any more Irish, could it really? And then Belfast, Deer's Head on the 18th, and finishing at Bogans in Omagh on the
And then we're then
19th.
I got to go to Iceland for one. So I mean, it's and I forgot to mention we're also going to be doing in-store appearances the day of the 12th in Newcastle, the day of the
Hang on,
third, or I'm
Newcastle is the
sorry,
11th.
the day of Newcastle, the 11th. I got those days backwards. The 11th September in Newcastle, the 12th of September in Edinburgh, and then in on the 17th of September and the 18th of September in Dublin and Belfast, we'll be at the HMV's record
Oh, cool.
shops during the day, doing acoustic performance, having records for sale, having some merch for sale, and just hanging out and meeting people. So we'll be at the HMV's in Newcastle, Edinburgh, Dublin, and Belfast during the day before those rock and roll shows at night. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I think it's a total of what's it, the 10th through the 22nd totally. I think it's like 14 total shows in 13 days or something crazy. So it's not for the faint of heart. We're out here doing it grassroots style, rock and roll, and it's a lot of fun. So big shout out to Freddie, our tour manager, who's put this all together. And I mean, it's great to have a wonderful team. And thank you so much for having me on your show, Kaz. It's been wonderful.
Oh, that's all right. Freddie is working you hard. I'll have to have a word,
Mhm.
won't I, and say to him, goodness. But yeah, you'll be fine. I'm absolutely sure. But like I said before, the links are on the socials. Go and look up Joey Wit, spelt with one T, just in case
One
anyone.
T.
It took me a while to
One.
find you initially.
Did it?
Put two in.
You put two T's in?
Pulls up somebody
Or
else.
the H. It's either people do one T but put an H in there, WHIT, or they do WI double T.
I don't know what I did, but it did take a while. But also you were linked from the posts about the Hoekstra Gibbs shows, so it's pretty easy, really.
So
But
yes,
yeah.
socials, Instagram at Joey Joey underscore WIT. And then
Mm.
on Facebook it's just JoeyWit or joeywit.com for all the other info. But Kaz, thank you so much. It's been
Okay.
wonderful to spend a little time with you this afternoon, and I will see you in like hopefully 3 short weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let you know which shows
Mm-hmm.
I can make it to because I need to check my diary. It's one thing at a time at the moment, Joey, if I'm being honest. It's been ever so busy. I've got another
Busy
festival to
lady.
do before I can
Busy
sort of
lady.
start chilling out and seeing what
Mm-hmm.
September looks like. But I will be there for sure. I will make sure that I am. Like I say, it's only a jump in a car, easy peasy. So
That's
yeah,
it.
thank you so much. It's been great,
You
and I
jump
will
on the
see
bus. Jump
you
jump on the bus with us. We'll pick you right up. Come on,
soon.
hang
Oh
out.
yeah, you'll be driving past mine at some point. So yeah, I'll be like. Pick me up. Cool.
Beautiful stuff.
All right. Super duper. Have a lovely rest of the day. And I will get all this ready and put on the socials. So, yeah,
Thanks,
catch
Kaz.
you in the UK. See you soon.
See you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye.
Right. See,
I
now I'm
love
still
it.
recording. I'll end up splicing this in. There's always gold after the recording stops supposedly, and I let it keep rolling, and that's when the funny, really stupid stuff happens.
Oh, that's a
That's
riot.
how I ended it with a rhinoceros head for a big toe instead of my head on backwards.
That's like, oh, I got one. I think I might have asked you this one before. Would you rather have grass for hair or walk backwards, making the beeping sound like a truck everywhere you go?
Oh, so hang on, I walk backwards all the time.
Yeah, but you make the sound like a lorry driver does when he's backing up. Yeah.
Or grass the hair.
Or grass for hair, yeah.
Can I grow the hair really long?
You can do whatever you want. It's your hair, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be trimmed and like into a little neat.
No, you have to wear it in a buzz cut, like it's still. Yes. No, you can do
um,
what you want. But remember, you get weeds and all that sort of things. Oh,
and worms. No, I wouldn't know because it'd be on my head. So I'm not going to get weeds unless weeds get in my head as well. So I'm leaning towards the grass for hair because I think I don't think anybody would be my friend if I walked backwards beeping everywhere. They might be my friend if I had grass for hair though. Just be like,
yeah, that could be like a cool oddity. Like, no, my friend Caz, yeah,
oh,
grass
I
for
could,
hair.
I could still like cut it. I
Yeah,
could still cut a little fringe
grass for
in.
hair. Hmm.
You know that girl Kaz, yeah, with the grass for hair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cat, you
What is
sound like
grass? Oh
yeah,
my God,
grass head.
if I went if I went near any cows or horses, they'd just eat my hair.
That is true.
Stay
That
away
is true.
from farm animals.
Yeah, that'd be rough. That'd be rough. Stay away from farms.
Yeah, I'm going with grass for hair because I like cows anyway. So if they want to eat my hair, that's fine. I'll be like I'll be like Snow White with all the little birds around her, except I'll have cows everywhere following me because I've got
That's
all my hair grass.
you look like a Disney princess walking around.
Some really weird Disney farmyard princess.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
too much.
brilliant. That's me. There we go.
Oh,
Hair. Okay, now we are actually going to definitely wrap up now. That's the promise. Because
okay,
I'm
darling.
probably going to splice this in because it's funny.
I
This is the kind
love
of
it.
bit I put on the TikTok.